And now, you're tuned in to RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's Reveler Sports.
Welcome to the Huddle, listeners and fans. This is RBLR Sports with the RBLR Bucs unit. Just like a team strategizing before a big match, we are here to huddle up and delve into all things Tampa Bay Bucs related as we near the regular season. All right, well, hey, week 2 is down the books. All right, and hey, we came out with the win. But maybe you're still rolling your eyes thinking, well, it's just preseason, Musab, so calm down. All right. So don't start just bouncing off the walls just yet. But hey, with 2 games down, the good thing is we are figuring some things out for sure, which makes me feel a lot better than we did 2 weeks ago, where, news are coming out, which is like Trask versus Mayfield. Is it really a battle? Is this the next Muhammad Ali versus Frazier? You know what I'm saying? All right, well, hey, it's the NFL. This is a new Bucs team, okay? And no matter what, there will be things that you can't think of that will have you bouncing off the walls. All right, like who knows? Maybe we see John Walford rush for 5 touchdowns. That'll have you on some sketchy Chinese website at 2 a.m. just because the whole city of Tampa Bay has already been sold out of jerseys. All right. All right, well, I probably made you chuckle a little bit now, but it's time to get down to business, and I can't without introducing my 2 awesome co-captains of this ship. All right, he is coming in hot and ready like a to-go pizza from Little Caesars. He is ready for the haters. He is ready to talk that smack. His name is Zach. Zach, how we doing tonight?
Okay, you ended it off great, but you just compared me to Little Caesars, which is kind of an issue, man. I'm at least Papa John's, man. Come on.
Oh man, come on! Don't say
Yeah,
Papa
Papa
John.
John's doesn't have a hot and ready pizza. They just have their pizza. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, hot and ready, hot trash, if that's what you mean.
Oh, boo!
Anyway, what's going on, brother, man? I know I missed last week. Coaching's been a little crazy, but how y'all been?
Doing well, man. We're doing well.
Good deal.
Yes, indeed. And to my left, currently steering the helm of this ship with his D. Delaney jersey-styled replica peg leg, he is Captain Carter. What's going on, Carter?
Oh, what's up, Musab? Oh man, it's a good week. It's a wonderful week. The Bucs were on Hard Knocks this week. They won. Obviously, it's been a nice week. Man, Zach, the hot and ready. It's Little Caesars, man. It's not that
clutch,
bad
man.
when you don't have.
It's like $5 as well, man.
I
especially
know,
this
It was
economy.
$5. Inflation, it's like $7 now.
Oh
But
yeah, I was just about to ask.
no, you know what?
Oh man,
When it happens to be just the only thing you can get, it's not trash. I've had some good hot and ready pizzas, but it's far from my go-to.
It's not that bad when you got somebody in your ear telling you how trash it is. But anyways, we'll stop digressing about Little Caesars Pizza. Obviously, the Bucs got a preseason W this past week against the Jets. Take that whatever you want to do with it. 13-6 in a preseason game. It was a bit of a weird game. John Wolford got a bit of a serious injury, but luckily he's good. He's at practice, not quite participating yet, but luckily he seems to be okay. The defense looked a lot better against the Jets. Obviously they struggled quite a bit against the Steelers. So that was a good thing. Did y'all have any initial takeaways from this game? I mean, I know it was kind of a weird one, but Musab, we'll start with you. Do you have any initial thoughts or takeaways from this game?
yeah, it was a weird one indeed. But I mean, honestly, I was just hoping for a win. I was hoping to see some more action from all of our kind of backups, which we did. So I was happy with that, and definitely interesting to see how Trask played, especially with John Walford being carted out. Happy to see that he's back as well. So yeah, that's really about it, though.
Yeah, for sure. Not really a super eventful game, other than obviously Trask getting a lot of playing time. But one big takeaway for myself before Zach, we get to you, was the running game is still very much an issue. I'm not sure. Obviously, the Jets have a really good defensive line, so I don't want to put too much stock into it. But it's just it's still tough to see guys like Keyshawn Vaughn racking up -8 yards for the game.
Exactly.
It's brutal. If it's a sign of things to come, it's not something you want to see, that's for sure. But Zach, how about you? Maybe you're focusing on the positive since it was a win.
I don't know if I'd say the positives. Yeah, it felt like it was just a really boring game. I mean, there was
Right.
nothing that stuck out too much. Trey Palmer stuck out, obviously. He saved an underthrow from Kyle Trask. I don't care what anyone says. That was not a good ball. I know that it technically gave Trask a touchdown. It was underthrown. Trey Palmer made a great catch. I think he is solidifying himself as wide receiver 3, especially with Gage out. This week kind of showed me that, maybe it wouldn't hurt to give the Colts a call for old JT, if I'm being honest with you, because look, I'm not a huge Jonathan Taylor fan, but he's better than what we got, and you can't convince me otherwise of that.
Of course.
But my other big-ish takeaway is I honest to God think that Trask was working his way to QB3 before this. Wolford came out and was balling again. He only had 4 for 4 with like 53 yards.
Yeah, both. Yeah.
Had he not gotten hurt, I think there would have been some serious talk about, he might be a QB2. So
right.
I don't know how that stands for Trask fans or Bucs fans in general.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. It's tough because obviously the news has come out. We'll get into it. Baker's now the starter. But preheat your ovens. It's bacon season. Whatever pun you want to use. He was officially named the starter via that social media post, and it was hard because Trask came out and didn't play super poorly towards the end. He started to pick it up, but yeah, like you said, if he hadn't have gotten that chance to come back in, he might have been playing his way well into a QB3 spot, which is
exactly
a hard thing to swallow. But regardless, since Baker's been officially named the starter, how are we feeling about it? Are you glad it's over, or do you think maybe it would have been worth seeing, just giving everyone another week to just kind of figure things out? Me personally, I'm kind of glad that it's been taken care of, settled, because it seemed like Baker was the obvious choice. I mean, there was all those reports about Baker already being named the starter, and clearly, they were not wrong, but whatever. Regardless, I'm glad it's over. They've seemed committed to a decision, regardless of what your opinion is. At least they've committed one way or the other, because continuing this weird Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask thing on the depth chart,
ridiculous.
It had some silly vibes to it for sure. Zach, we'll start with you. Do you think? How are you? Are you glad it's over, or you maybe thought maybe Trask deserved another week since he played so relatively well against the Jets?
I knew it was over the second that Baker didn't get any playing time in the second.
Yeah, that's a good point. Right.
So I think I even tweeted out as soon as I saw that Wolford came in the second half. I tweeted out so Baker's officially QB1 or something along those lines.
Right.
I took issue kind of with Todd Bowles still continuing to be like, well, it's still a battle. We still don't know. And then the very next day coming out and being like, oh, yeah, by the way, Baker's our guy. We're going with him. I guess I'm glad that it's over. I wish that Wolford wouldn't have gotten hurt, because I think that the battle for QB2 was honestly a more tight battle than the battle for QB1 was. And I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with that, but I called as soon as Baker signed. You guys know how I am about Baker Mayfield. I called him being the starter as soon as he came. I don't think he would have come if he didn't already have that kind of not guarantee, but sort of like, hey, we want you to be the starter, so you're our guy as long as you don't mess up too bad.
For sure. Yeah, I feel you. I'm glad it's over as well. Musab, maybe you were kind of, you said you were chasing the Trask train a little bit, had your ticket and we're kind of trying to run it down a little bit, but maybe now you're walking back to the train station, with your head held high as Baker Mayfield now the starting QB. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I'm walking back to the train station and saying, let me get one of those vouchers where I can buy maybe a train ticket later on, but right now I don't need to go anywhere.
Fair enough.
Feel me?
You switch it for the Trey train?
Yeah, sure thing. With Baker officially named the starter, I wasn't surprised, but I'm going to be honest with you, just thinking about all this, I don't know why this was ever, part of the equation with the whole Baker versus Trask. I'm really happy we finally have a starter now, just because of this whole kind of talk about, who's actually going to be a starter. But I will say this is, I think we are somewhat doomed. I'm still I'm fine with Baker just because he is the best out of all of them. But I also don't have that much high hopes either. And I'm hoping maybe things change. And what I'm also really disappointed with, as Zach mentioned, with Todd Bowles mentioning, oh yeah, by the way, Baker's our starter the day after the second game against the Jets, is just that I feel like he's in the hot seat right now, and I think that he knows it. And I thought it was kind of a little bit of a stupid decision just to be holding it back. I feel like even the starters didn't even know it then. I don't know though. Honestly, with the whole kind of John Walford and Kyle Trask situation battling it for QB2, I think Trask has secured the spot for QB2 for sure. If John Walford was someone more relevant, I feel like we would have had that feeling by now, or at least I would have had. I think Trask was a stupid decision that we have to deal with. He's like that. He's like that son that you just, pick up on the road and decide to adopt after a night out, a crazy night out in Vegas, thinking, oh, yeah, this is going to be cool to have.
What kind of nights out are you having, brother?
Well, I'm not going out to Vegas. It was a stupid decision to, to a first of starter or anything. But I don't know, though. I still feel that, Baker Mayfield has a lot to prove. I'm not going to be all, sunshine and rainbows. But what I have to say is, in summary, is I'm happy that we finally decided that we are going to have Baker as our starting quarterback for sure. If he sucks, I think that, if he sucks by week 3 or 4, I say we just toss in Trask, have him lead the pack. And if he sucks as well, then it's time to start talking about, some quarterback prospects later on this season. But that's really about it. We have a lot to figure out, guys. We really do. So
come back.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be
comeback player of the year. It's going to be another Geno Smith situation.
Who knows?
Okay, man. Yeah, I don't know about all that, but
now
that's
when it happens, I'm just saying. I told you so. Today is the 23rd of August, 2023.
Yeah. Hey, we'll mark it down. We'll write it down, and then we'll be reading it as Baker Mayfield goes back into free agency next year and gets back up. Anyways, no, we'll move on from this quarterback situation because it's been talked to death by everyone. But a little bit more of an interesting development. I know we talked about Trey Palmer. He's obviously his spot on the roster. I think at this point is already locked up, even though he's a 6th round pick. So it's been really impressive to see him, kind of emerge and take advantage of a really, really interesting opportunity here. But another guy, Raheem Jarrett had a huge game. He had over 80 yards receiving. It's 3 for 3 on targets. I mean, he had a pretty good game as well. And I know other than, Godwin, Evans, and Palmer, it's kind of who knows for the rest of the wide receiver spots. So do you think that Raheem Jarrett with this game kind of stepped up and said, hey, I want one of those roster spots? I'm trying to, do you think that he solidified it, or do you think that there's still you still got to wait and see kind of deal? Because in my mind, Raheem Jarrett might be a lock at this point for the 53, but just because, man, it's hard to have that kind of performance and not give him some playing time in the regular season. But maybe y'all feel differently. Musab, we'll start with you. How are you feeling about Raheem Jarrett's chances of making the roster?
No, I think he's pretty locked in for sure, especially with Gage out. What was interesting was the fact that we didn't see him until the second half, but it was definitely really nice to see some action finally during that boring game.
Sure.
He made some awesome catches. I think he was one of those kind of big reasons as to why the Bucs were able to move, the ball, later on in the game. And I mean, yeah, he led the whole team with 3 receptions for 84 yards. So, I mean, I'm satisfied with it. He was able to make some good things happen. And I'm just excited to see, how much he is able to help us this upcoming season.
Absolutely. Yeah, it'll be really exciting to see him kind of move forward and hopefully continue to prosper. And, we'll see. But Zach, how about you? Maybe you're a bit more hesitant because they've still got Devin Tompkins and David Moore, the veteran. So maybe you're still a little, hey, let's give these other guys still more of a chance.
Yeah, I think that the problem with him the baby's crying in the background. I think the problem with him is not necessarily how good he played, but like the fact that he missed the first game because, if I'm not mistaken, it was some kind of injury. I don't know that I would solidify him in yet, but I think he made a very, very compelling case to be solidified. I just don't know that I'm sold on him yet. I think you mentioned it kind of perfectly when you said we've got David Moore, we've got Devin Tompkins. Like, we've got some players who are capable and have kind of shown through other seasons or other practices that they've been there. And I know I've heard good things about him in practice, but he's only had one game. So I think in order for him to solidify his spot, it's going to be this week.
For sure. Yeah, I'm with you. If he plays well against Baltimore as well, then I think it might be more of a oh man, this guy's making the roster no matter what. But I'm with you. It's definitely going to kind of a more of a wait and see. But at the same time, you can't just it's hard to just brush aside a performance like that. So speaking of elite performances, they won this week, so we're going to talk about our players of the week. Obviously it's still the preseason. You don't want to take you don't want to put too much stock into anything really, but it's still kind of fun, and they won, so why not? Zach, we'll start with you. Who's your player of the week from this past week?
I mean, Trey Palmer.
Oh, okay.
Trey Palmer. Yeah, and he didn't do anything necessarily crazy, but just the one touchdown catch was such an impressive catch that for me, it kind of it was the biggest highlight of the game, and that was kind of in a game that there wasn't too many highlights in my opinion.
Right.
So for him to have the best highlight in that game, that's who I'm giving it to.
Gotcha. All right. Cool. Musa, how about you? Who's your player of the week?
My player of the week's got to go to Sean Tucker. All right, just because he led all the running backs with 37 yards. I think he is definitely making a big name for himself. Keyshawn Vaughn is on the chopping block now. I mean, he completely outplayed Keyshawn Vaughn. I'm not going to say, this guy has a lot of potential or whatever, but clearly I see him being a potential backup to Rachaad White on the depth chart. And it's just nice to see, I guess, a guy that no one really thought, really had a chance is finally really making a name for himself. So I really enjoyed that long, that long run that he had that really helped us as well. So overall, he's my player of the week.
Yeah, I'm with you. He really performed well, and like you said, he's kind of taken Keyshawn Vaughn's spot, which is great for him.
Very hard to do at this point.
Right? Yeah, it's not super difficult, but
he might be the worst running back on the roster right now. We have Patrick Laird on this roster.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's tough to see for sure. It's definitely not fun to see Keyshawn struggle the way he is. But my personal pick is D. Delaney, just because he came away with that interception. I know it was from a pass deflection by Keenan Isaac, so he could certainly be kind of my player of the week B, if you will. But D. Delaney, he came away with a pass deflection and a pick. He had 7 total tackles. It was a really impressive performance for a guy that I know we kind of poke fun, make jokes about, but hey, he balled out, as Musa would like to say. He played really well.
Smile on my face, Carter. Yes, indeed.
Sure. Gotta give credit where it's due. So he's also kind of, we're going to move on to a different segment, the hidden gem of the week. Musab's always talking about hidden gems, and I love that phrase. So sort of my hidden gem was definitely Keenan Isaac, just because he's undrafted. Who's heard of Keenan Isaac, with all due respect, out of Alabama State, kind of out of a smaller school. So it's been very fun to see him kind of emerge, especially because the secondary is where it is. The depth pieces are not exactly plentiful. So Keenan Isaac's my hidden gem of the week. Zach, how about you? Who's your hidden gem of this week?
Raheem Jarrett. I know that he's an undrafted guy who, for the exact reason I said he's not solidified yet, is why he's my hidden gem. This is his first game action. He comes out 4 for 4?
3 for
3 for 3 for 84 yards. That's a hidden gem if I've ever seen one.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm with you. Raheem Jarrett's definitely up there. Musab, how about you? It's your segment, big guy. So who's your hidden gem?
Okay. Well, for me, it's going to be J.J. Russell at linebacker. All right. The Bucs, had another kind of 3-and-out third drive. I was like, oh, great. This is already kind of being a boring game already. And then out of nowhere, here comes J.J. Russell forcing that fumble on Donovan Knight, a.k.a. Bam Knight. So this is the second time in a row that, he's made a name for himself, forces turnover. I think he has potential for sure to make the roster as well, just because with KJ Britt banged up, I don't know. This guy does have a chance as well. We'll see what goes on, though. But, just thinking about it all, guys, we still have another week to see, what goes on, how this team is looking. So what I'm looking forward to seeing is hopefully, he causes some havoc again this upcoming game against the Ravens.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. That was a great mention. I knew you were going to come through with a great hidden gem right there. But yeah, JJ Russell. I mean, shoot, he's got a real chance, especially like you said with KJ Brick going down, unfortunately. And JJ Russell can maybe contribute in special teams, stuff like that. So yeah, he has a real chance to maybe try to sneak his way onto this roster. And it's going to be exciting to see. But what else is exciting is that we actually got nominated for the Best of the Bay vote, Creative Loafing. So we would really appreciate it if y'all could take some time and vote for us on the Creative Loafing website. You just go to their Best of the Bay section. The link is in the description of this, as well as our pinned tweet on socials. So if you could check it out, we're under the entertainment section under Best Podcast. Just click the RBLR thing, and then that's it. I mean, you can vote for some other stuff if you want, but you only have to vote for us as far as we're concerned. So yeah, we'd really appreciate if you could check us out there and do the dang thing. So anyways, moving on, game day jam. We're going to have some fun here. Game day jam of the week. Just something that you're going to be maybe bumping in your car, driving home and getting ready to watch the Ravens game Saturday. I know the Ravens they're actually a pretty good team. They had a really long win streak in preseason games that was ended this past week with the Washington Commanders. So what song are you listening to before this Ravens game, or maybe during this Ravens game? Maybe you hate the commentators and just want to listen to music while you watch the game. Zach, we'll start with you. What's your game day jam of the week?
All right, so hear me out, okay? There's this artist. I found him on TikTok. I'm sure a lot of people have. His name is Nick D. He's got this song. It's called 8 to Infinity. It's kind of like a love rap song, right? But my idea behind it is if I manifest it, all these wins will become infinity, and we will just go undefeated all season. So I'm manifesting a perfect season right now.
Wow. Okay. Hey, fair enough.
I'm working on it. It's not gonna work, but I'm trying my damnedest. All right.
For sure. Hey, man, you gotta do your part. Musab, how about you? What's your game day jam of the week?
Yeah, something kind of similar to Zach, the way he was thinking about his song. I was just, cruising back from a workout and got a little shuffle, and I got Eminem came on. I was like, damn, man, I haven't really heard some of that Eminem. You know what I'm saying? And then kind of thinking about this season, Zach, I kind of disagree with you with the whole infinity and beyond undefeated kind of season. My song is Till I Collapse by Eminem, just because there's a chance this team may go through a lot of struggles and may collapse. So it's till Baker and till Kyle Trask have had enough, until the rest of the team has had enough that they collapse. But it's a good pump up song. It's my new little pre-workout song. Might put a little bit of work in the gym after this podcast tonight. I might listen to that. Might be thinking about.
You hear that, ladies? Do you
hear what's up?
I said, do you hear that, ladies? He's going to the gym after the podcast.
Yeah. Got me some of that on that TB12 program.
Oh dear. Oh goodness. Yeah. Right. For sure. Yeah. The magic of Alex Guerrero working. Yeah. Well, go crazy. But yeah, I mean, Till I Collapse, that might be a good song to bring up later in the season if things are really, as you mentioned, going south and, potentially collapsing. Mine's going to be Balloons. It's by No Name, just because I don't know. I'm hoping the Bucs are going to, like a balloon, kind of elevate, shoot for the sky. But then again, they could also get popped and then, just immediately fall back to the face of the earth. So
there's a very solid chance of both.
100%. Yeah, for sure. Who knows? No Name just released her album and it's fantastic. So definitely go check it out for those looking for some more hip hop to listen to. But yeah, Balloons, it just represents how the Bucs season could go. It's very, who knows? So yeah, that's my jam of the week. Thought we'd have some fun there.
Real
but now
quick,
more.
Before we get to the next one.
Oh,
I have to say, man, this whole pessimistic Musab is tripping me out lately.
I don't know, man. I've just been thinking about it a lot, man.
Gosh, it's just so weird to see you went from so bright to so dark.
I mean,
I don't know man.
That's what happens when Baker Mayfield's your starting quarterback.
I will not take any more Baker Mayfield slander. I'm done.
Hey, fair enough, fair enough. I'll try to nip it in the bud.
Thank
But,
you.
but I'm with you. It's tough to see the usual sunshine and rainbows we
Yeah.
saw turn into kind of the
Yeah,
you know
man. In this day and economy, it's hard to be optimistic. And
it's almost like
it's kind of
wallowing.
wearing off on my football takes as well. But yeah, I will say this, Zach. It's more than just Baker, or more than Trask, or more than just one or two guys. It's the whole organization. So hey, we'll see. I think it's also just I want to be as real as possible, just because we got a whole new team we're working with. There's been a lot of teams in the past, they got a couple studs and then it doesn't even work out. It
Yeah.
happens a lot in the NBA. I'll tell you that.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, you can't just be like you say, all sunshine and rainbows, especially when that's not the case. You got to be real, you got to be realistic, and you got to
It
call it
gets
how you see
stormy
it.
here in Tampa Bay, and it may be a stormy season.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's been raining all night. But anyways, on to some more newsy stuff. The couple of things just to take care of some kind of like I said, some kind of newsy stuff. The Bucs cut Rodrigo Blankenship. So Chase McLaughlin is officially the kicker this season, at least to start the season. So no more of the bespectable giant, the guy with the rec specs. It's now just Chase McLaughlin. They also signed Richard LeCounte. He last played with the Browns. He's a safety. And Rodarius Williams. They got him off of waivers from the Giants. I mean, it doesn't really ease my secondary concerns in regards to this team. But it's definitely kind of nice to see them at least not just sit on their hands and just be like, well, this is what we got. They're at least trying, I guess, to be proactive about the problem. But I don't know. Maybe y'all are a little more optimistic. Musab, we'll start with you. Are they really addressing your secondary concerns, or are you kind of just like, who the hell are these guys?
Yeah, I'm exactly thinking, who the hell are these guys? I don't know if they're going to end up making a difference at all, especially
Right.
thinking about the whole 53-man roster. I think they're just added just to be playing this upcoming preseason game against the Ravens, giving our backups a little bit of rest time as well. I do want to give a shout out to Rodarius Williams and his family, because they are going through a little bit of a tough time with Greedy Williams as well being cut within the same kind of couple of days, same range. So
Right.
yeah, a little tough on them, but I don't know. Listen, this is their opportunity to make a name for themselves if they can, but that's really about it. And with Blankenship being cut, it was bound to happen. I hate to see the legendary goggle man getting cut, but hey, field goals matter no matter what, whether it's preseason, the regular season. And just imagine if the Jets had racked up another touchdown or so and it was a close game, thinking about, hey, just from a couple missed field goals, we may have lost. So we're going to need every single kind of point we can get, or points we can get. So this battle was bound to end very soon, and obviously Chase McLaughlin won it, and I have high hopes for him, and hopefully he will be able to help us.
For sure. Yeah, he had some pretty decent numbers for the Colts last season. Not really surprised he won out, just because they're trying to base it on past performances from last season. Rodrigo was going through some injury concerns last year, so yeah, that's kind of all there is to it. And I'm with you. It would have been interesting if the Bucs had brought in Rodarius and Greedy Williams. That would have been kind of cool to see the brothers kind of maybe fight out for a roster spot. But I don't know. Anyways,
maybe go home together. Maybe go home
Right.
together again.
Yeah, that would have been tough. That would have been really tough. But Zach, how about you? Maybe you're a little bit more optimistic about these secondary signings, or maybe you're right there with me and Musab and myself, and you're kind of just ho hum about it.
Yeah, I think we signed the wrong Williams, brother. And I'll stand by that. Greedy Williams is not a number one corner in this league, but he is still very young and still has a tremendous amount of potential, in my opinion. I know he's had injury history, but I think that he has more upside than his brother. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. I think that with signing a guy like Greedy Williams, we would have almost been expected to have him make the team with the no names that we have outside of our starting two, if that makes sense at all. So it seems like a safer signing than Greedy Williams, but one that won't be as bountiful in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, it's really difficult to sign a guy to be a backup when he's had 2 stints on injury reserve or injured reserve in his past 3 seasons. I mean, that's probably not winning football. But I'm with you though, because it's a high upside signing. Because
I totally see your point. Like the injury history for a backup is concerning,
right?
But realistically, if we're gonna, none of those 2 guys, what LeConte I think is his name, right?
Yeah,
something along those lines. Neither one of them are going to make an impact this year. Williams and they're not going to. So why not take the risk of having Greedy Williams on the sideline with the potential for him to play, because he's got the ability to be a starter in the NFL. He's not going to be your number 1 corner, but he could be your 2 or 3. Not on Tampa, obviously. He'd be the 3 at best, but still, like, when we're in such need for a corner, I think that your call to have signed both of them would not have been a bad one. I don't think we really needed a safety, if I'm being completely upfront and honest with you. I think our safety spots are kind of secured at this point, and I'm happy with our safeties. Our corners are where I'm worried, and I think that we did too much to address the safety spot as opposed to trying to shore up our corners more. But as far as the Blankenship situation, yeah, I mean, he sealed his fate Saturday night when he missed the 2 field goals. That's just kind of – I don't know how anyone expected anything else, considering McLaughlin is the one who took his spot in Indianapolis. Like, why wouldn't he also take his spot in Tampa? It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, for sure. And it's tough when McLaughlin's the one that took the extra point. It kind of tells you where the Bucs' heads were at in regards to who had the edge, so to speak. So yeah, the McLaughlin Blankenship, it's kicking. It's kind of like relief pitchers in baseball. Like, they're super streaky. Like, you can't really necessarily count on them to be the same guy they were last year. It's a hard profession. It's a lot harder than Ninja said. Wasn't it Ninja that was like, oh, they just have one job, how are they so bad?
Yeah.
All right, man, you go out there and kick a field goal. Like, what the hell? Anyways,
outside of Justin Tucker, it's almost like you see a new kicker.
Yeah, it's
every year.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, it's a constant rotation. So anyways, we're looking towards next week. They're playing the Ravens this Saturday. Is there anything y'all are looking for? There's been some rumors that the starters are going to get a lot more run time. Obviously, the first couple of games haven't really seen much from the starters, the ones, so to speak. So is there anything you're looking for from this team? Just kind of maybe just gelling a little bit more with Baker, maybe seeing how the first team offense does, especially against a team who their backups, the Ravens, are really well coached and they have a really solid team. So, they're, even if the Bucs are playing the Ravens backups, they're still playing some pretty darn good backups. So is there anything y'all are looking for next week? Zach, we'll start with you.
The biggest thing for me is just how you kind of mentioned it, how they gel. If our offensive line is running nice, and to see Baker get some protection and be able to throw to guys like Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, I think that's key, because we've seen him throwing to, in all honesty, just Trey Palmer. Like, everyone else is kind of known. I know Devin Tompkins has made some noise in training camp and practices, but outside of that, Trey Palmer is the only one that's really making noise. So we've seen 3 drives with Mayfield. So I think it's going to be interesting to see him get time with the actual starters and not have some BS line in front of him that we don't know who's playing where and what they're doing. But that would be my biggest takeaway, is kind of how we see Baker interact with the ones. And then as a backup point is like seeing who we have out start the game at corner. Like, I know we're obviously going to have Carlton Davis and Jamel Dean, but who's that third guy? I think that's going to be telling when they start the game.
For sure. Yeah, I'm with you. I think the third cornerback spot, or the slot, or wherever you want to call it, whatever you want to call it, wherever they're lined up, is definitely going to be something to watch for. Musab, how about you? What are things that you're looking for this week?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to definitely the starters getting in some action. I don't know how much action I want them to have. Not too much either. But yeah, I definitely want to see Baker working with the starters for sure. Definitely see how that works out. And then from there, I just want to see progression from the backups, those guys who are fighting for a spot to, make a name for themselves, saying that, I deserve to be on that 53-man roster. who knows? Maybe we see someone standing out these last couple of weeks who may have a chance to possibly be, uh, who can battle it out for a starter position. But I really don't see that at all. Um, that's about it, though. The one big thing I do want to see is improvement from the offensive line. Starters, we'll see how that goes, but as well with these backups. I felt that, for example, like Luka Decky he wasn't too bad Saturday night. Cody Mock, yeah, he looked pretty darn good, I guess, for a rookie, but it's going to take him some time. So we're going to be okay, I guess. Maybe not, with the offensive line. A little less confident, with people like Hainsey and Nick Leverett at center. And then I don't think we haven't seen Matt Filer. Is that what his name is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen him at all. So I don't know exactly what to think about him. But that's what I'm probably looking at more than anything is how's the offensive line doing? Are they giving enough, Baker Mayfield enough time? And, how well is Baker clicking with our starters when they're actually, playing an actual game?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing like some real game action. But I'm
Yeah.
with you. I hope they get some action, but not too much. The
Yeah.
injury, once the injury bug starts, it's hard to
Oh
stop.
God.
Yeah.
So just fingers crossed, hope they're playing it safe because, the Bucs have already, obviously with Russell Gage and Ryan Jensen still hasn't played a snap. Obviously injuries can happen like that and it can be real tough to see. So yeah, I'm with you, but it's definitely, the good news about Matt Lietler, the veteran offensive lineman that you mentioned, he's been around for a minute. So, if he's kind of just going through the motions, it seems like I feel like he's probably locked up that starting position just because, he's competing with some guys that maybe are a little bit more subpar, with all due respect.
Maybe.
So, right. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that he's kind of chilling and I'm not super worried about him. He's been around so long. He knows what the deal is. So I'm more interested in Cody Mock and like you mentioned, Luke Gadecki, who kind of seemed to take a bit of a step forward last week, but it's always so hard when in these preseason games to really make any kind of assertions. But yeah, are there any positions that y'all are thinking about that are like really still up for grabs? Because I know that, we've been talking about the starters getting some run, but like you mentioned, we saw there's going to be a lot of backups out there still playing for a roster position. So are there any positions that you're looking for specifically that you're like, I wonder who gets the kind of the final shakedown? Musab, we'll start with you. Are there any positions that you're looking at that are still up for grabs?
Probably just the DB unit, specifically cornerbacks, seeing how that goes, just because injuries are bound to happen, and I'm hoping we get the best of the best backups as well. I am kind of interested to see what goes on with the kind of running back room. I'm hoping that honestly, I'm rooting for Sean Tucker at this point.
For sure.
Yeah, so I want to see him kind of make a name for himself again. If he gets some action for sure, I think it's finally time to let go of Keyshawn Vaughn. And then, as I mentioned, that hidden gem of the week, J.J. Russell. I want to see him as well, kind of battle out for that inside linebacker spot. I don't know if we have any news in regards to KJ Britt's injury. I know he had to leave the game with the hamstring injury. I don't know how serious it was or how serious it wasn't. But again, I mean, it's not like he's really made a huge name for himself either. Maybe it's time for him to kind of battle it out with J.J. Russell and may the best man win.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that running back battle. That's probably my position, the most important position to watch just because, like you mentioned, Sean Tucker, he was a power back at Syracuse, and he seems to be kind of continuing that trend in the NFL. And I'm hoping he can kind of solidify his spot on the roster because, like you mentioned, it would be nice to move on from the Keyshawn Vaughn experience. It certainly hasn't been great.
No.
So it would be great to see Sean Tucker get his chance. And especially as an undrafted rookie, you love those. Everyone loves those underdog stories. They're great. So that'd be super fun to see. Zach, how about you? What's a position that you're looking for?
Yeah, I mean, I think running back is a great option because, like you said, I know that he was undrafted. If it wasn't for his health history, or the health scare that he had, I think he would have been a day 2 pick easy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's nice to see that we got him, and now he's kind of proving himself that he should have been a day 2 pick. But in my the deepest position for me right now is wide receiver and linebacker. I feel like there's going to be names that we really like in that group that get sent home and don't play for the Bucs. I think it's just one of those things where I'm excited to see who they put out there during the game and kind of see where we're at with like the guys that play in the fourth quarter. You know, they're probably not making the team, so it's going to suck to see guys like Cade Warner on the wide receiver side. He's someone that I really like, and not just because of his last name, but because I think that he could be very good, like a niche player, I guess that you would say. And just to see some of these guys get some more opportunity to prove themselves, I guess is my biggest thing. Just middle linebacker and wide receiver in particular.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, the wide receiver group, like you said, has seemingly quite a bit of depth despite the Russell Gage injury. So it's been pretty impressive to see. And yeah, Sean Tucker had that heart defect that made everyone pass on him. And luckily, you know, the issues seem to be, knock on wood, in the past, and he's cleared to play and everything. So, you know, hopefully it can continue to be that way and he'll have a very long and successful NFL career. That would be a wonderful story. You know, not a lot of undrafted guys can, you know, fight and claw their way to a roster spot, but he seems to be hopefully on his way to doing so. So it'd be wonderful to see. But that's all we got, really. We're coming towards the end of the episode. We appreciate y'all tuning in and listening. If you like what you heard, we would love it if you could hit that like and subscribe button wherever you're tuning in from us or tuning in to listen to us from. Also follow us on socials. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at RBLR Sports. Check us out there. We definitely got some fire content firing out always. But thank you again for tuning in and listening. We'll see you next week after the Ravens game. And as always,
Go Bucs.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.